most people think, well, we need to find them a job. Well, that's true. We need to help them with their education. That's true. We need to help them find a place to stay. And all those things are true, but they're not what's wrong. What's wrong is what happened in their lives has never been dealt with. So they're not ready to move on. No matter what you're talking about, no matter what they're trying to do for the prisoners, you have to deal with this grief of that they've been carrying around in their bellies all their lives. You've got to deal with that, and then they're ready.
Prison in no way, shape, or form rehabilitated me. Prison gave me an opportunity to just sink deeper into patterns and behaviors that got me there to begin with.
Some people come home from prison having paid their debt to society, and yet barriers are still erected in front of them to prevent them from having a second opportunity at life. So people should care about that, in my mind, because it shows an ability to forgive. It shows a willingness in our community to forgive folks instead of continuing to hammer folk over their past.
There is very little hope for people getting out as far as which way to turn or anybody to look to for help.
As a former public defender, I really had an opportunity to see what happened when people had an opportunity to go through a program, see the results. If they failed, they weren't totally punished. They had a chance to relapse, but also work through the program. It was sad that there were just a lot of programs at the time of dealing with reentry and people having issues anyway. And a lot of people just wanted to say, okay, one strike, you're out. You mess up, you go back. There's no help.
It is like a stigma on if you've made a mistake. A lot of people forget the things that they have done in their life. We all human. We fall, but we get up, and that's why I care. And with Chattanooga endeavors, it's a very big stepping stone in heading in the right direction.
The most unique thing about Endeavors was that the people that were involved in Endeavors were convicted felons as well.
To me, people stereotype people. If you have committed a crime, whether big or small, you still get stereotyped. And what was unique about Endeavors is that it tore down the barrier. Like, you can actually not be afraid to talk to administrative. You know what I'm saying? They treat you like people and not animals.
So they were like role models for me. They were people who had been where I had been, and they had managed to get out and come up with a different way. One of my heroes for the entirety of my life will be a man named Jeff, and he was the teacher of the class. And Jeff was born with, we'll just say, different than everyone else. And I too was born somewhat different. We'll call it a birth defect, perhaps. And so I identified with Jeff right off the top, in that he had something that he could not hide from the world. His was quite apparent, as was mine. Jeff didn't let it beat him, ever. He had a really great attitude, and he really impressed me as a human being that I could trust, someone that I could open up to and share how I felt, and also share what my fears were as well.
remember when we stopped delivering the employment program, there was somebody that basically was knocking on our door trying to find out if we still existed. And when he discovered that we weren't at the time providing employment services, he got really depressed. He said, you know, there's no place for us in Chattanooga. The fact that Chattanooga Endeavors exists creates hope for people.
When Chattanooga Endeavors been not around for a second, it has like tore down communities because nobody really have empathy for anyone anymore.
So I care because I care to see people have an opportunity in their life. And I think that in a lot of ways that when people are in desperate circumstances, they really behave in ways that they wouldn't ordinarily behave. It's sort of the worst version of themselves. And when they hit the street and nobody's there to care about them, it really puts them in a position of strain, and it puts them in a position where I just don't think that they're very proud of the actions that they take. I have never met anybody ever that has convinced me that they wanted to be in prison. I've never met anybody ever that's convinced me that they wanted to be on the streets. Never met anybody ever that's convinced me that they wanted to be a failure in their life. So Chattanooga Endeavors in some ways provides a little bit of an opportunity for people to get the kind of second chance that allows them to be at least successful enough that they can feel proud about their lives.
It's been kind of a bright light that gives you hope when you're thinking down the road.
Support Chattanooga Endeavors, support us, believe in our cause, and help us do the work that we need to get done. It's vital to our community.
Many people have volunteered many hours, many people have donated many dollars, and there is absolutely no way that we would be able to provide any kind of a service at all without their help and their assistance and their involvement. So we really do want to say thank you to the people that contributed early on in our organization. We also want to thank the people that have been available while we have been sort of on a hiatus here. People that have believed in the mission, that continue to promote what it is that we do, and are looking for the day that we come back into service. So I think it's important to lift those people up. And I think it's also important to recognize what we're actually doing here, which is trying to call people's attention to a campaign that would reform our employment services. We are currently providing services inside prison to keep people connected to the community that they're coming home to. We call that service Stephen's Table. But we really do recognize the need both for employment services and also for housing services. And the purpose of this discussion right now is to invite people to become a part of that.
I love Chattanooga Endeavors. I do. I really do. It has really helped me out on a lot. It has helped a lot. I'm able to listen now. And that's one of the biggest things is just listening to the other person. Just listening.